All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone had a great day yesterday, and hope you are having a good morning today. Good morning, Norm. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing great. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good. All right, guys. Good morning and happy Thursday. All right, let's see what we had yesterday. So, as usual, let's go over our top plays and highlights for the day before. Then we'll get into our gappers list, which I see quite a bit on here. Looks great. And then we'll go over our NASDAQ active and NASDAQ gainers. So let's start out with Bank of America. Bank of America yesterday had earnings, had a beautiful pre-market activity. Actually had a decent open, guys. A lot of volume here, a lot of movement. You can see here a beautiful opening range breakup on the 5, and you do get some great continuation here off this pullback, which turns out to be a very nice trade. Then sells off of this level, couldn't really go any higher, sells right back down, almost giving back the entire open. And then from there, it gets a little bit choppy, right? It looks clean on the one. You could have taken a nice short here off the VWAP on this drop. And you got some reverse ABCD patterns on the 1 minute. But overall, again, just kind of gets real choppy between probably like 10:30 to about noon or so. Just continues to chop around and just kind of wrap itself around the moving average and the 1 minute in the VWAP. Again, not a bad start. Again, usually Bank of America doesn't trade very well, so the fact that it actually did this type of move here looks clean on the one. You was able to take some opportunities. My issue with Bank of America, as you know, is that it doesn't move too much, right? This entire range goes from 30.70 down to 30.20, so only a 50 cents range throughout the entire morning. Again, compared to other stocks like a Roku, like an Nvidia, like an Apple, where you can get a more movement. Even like on an MU, you can definitely get more movement throughout the day in an hour or two. ABT, guys, this was real nice trading yesterday on ABT. Didn't have the best pre-market activity, but at the open had a nasty open here. All right, so not anything great, but look what happens after it settles down. After it settles down, it does get above the VWAP. It does hold this 9 EMA moving average nicely on the 5, and look at this beautiful uptrend. Just heads higher and higher, hitting the high of the day and continuing to hit some good levels all the way up here. You do have some highs and lows from the 2 trading days ago up here as well. So again, just traded real nice, guys. Again, you have to be patient on it. Even on the 1, you can see how nicely held the moving averages. Once it comes above the VWAP, you get the retest, right? This one doesn't happen right away. You get the breakout, you get the retest of the VWAP here, and then eventually sets a trend nicely above the VWAP here. So if you're patient and this is your style of trading, this could have been a very, very good opportunity here on ABT. Next, we have Roku, guys. Roku was amazing. Again, just continues to give us such great plays. Off the bat, got too extended for a 5-minute opening range breakdown, as you can see here. So you want to be cautious with that, because once it gets that extended from the VWAP, a pullback could be coming, or the move could be already exhausted, so you want to be careful with that. So on here you can see hits this moving average on the 5, then it gets pretty nasty here. If you look closer, you do have somewhat of a nasty double bottom here, and that's what I saw when I looked at Roku. Still didn't take it, but it looked like it was getting ready to reverse off this moving average. It does come above the VWAP and then becomes a beautiful trend train towards the top here. So we took it here around 10:30 or so when it retested the VWAP, became a good long. We got in for the breakout of this 130.19 level that we had. If you go back on the 1 minute chart, you can see how it was tested several times. The next time it came up here, it looked like it had some more momentum on the way back up, and it nicely went up all the way to this level we had all the way up here, which was the high from 2 days ago, this dotted red line. So again, traded very well. Roku continues to give us some very, very good moves. We'll see what it's doing today. But again, one of those that you want to keep on your list. Nvidia, guys, also a very exciting open as well. It took a while. If you look at that first 5 minute, well, not a while, it took 4 minutes, right? That's not a long time. So it took a while to get going, but eventually, if you look at the 5, a nice, beautiful opening range breakup and the continuation, right? Sometimes you don't get this continuation like you did on Bank of America. Here, you do get that continuation, hits the high of the day and continues to even head higher and head higher. This pullback here was a little bit deep. It kind of was setting up for ABCD pattern, but the fact that it broke the VWAP was a little concerning. Eventually, it did engulf back up. I think the SPY has something to do with this here. The SPY kind of sold off, if I remember correctly, but did bounce back up and eventually hit the high of the day and came all the way up here. So again, a beautiful trade on Nvidia, and then became a beautiful short. Again, you got a double top here on the 5-minute. Here's your confirmation right on this pullback on the way back down. That's your entry for a double top. And Eamon is putting some stuff together on the double top for a workshop Wednesday, so we'll have and double bottoms. So we'll have that shortly for you guys, and probably in the early next month. So here you can see the drop down comes below view up, another great entry. Again, just reverse ABCD patterns all the way down, heads down all the way to the low of the day. Basically, that's where it closed at yesterday. So again, a beautiful trade here on Nvidia. Here's Apple, guys. Apple also had a very interesting start. You can see the drop right before the market opened and then an engulfing right before that. This is usually an indication of a reverse pattern, right? So when you see this, you can include this pre-market candle into your indication. This is a good signal for a reversal. You can see a nice pullback here on the second 5-minute candle, and you do get a nice pop all the way up to these levels here. So that traded well. Then after that, guys, it just did not look clean at all on the 5-minute chart. You can see very choppy in this area here. So it was very difficult to trade at that point. J&J was another one. Again, you have a nice engulfing crack here, bullish engulfing crack. As you can see, sells down, comes right back up. This is your entry right around this area. If you look at the 1 minute, you can fine tune your entry. Here's the drop. Here's the pop, and on this nice pullback here to the VWAP, that's the entry you're looking for on this continuation play. So again, reverse. This is a good reversal signal. You do get a pop. Then from here, it got really choppy. I was in around here for a breakout, and it took so long to get this going, right? So I just got out at a little bit below break even on this trade because again, it just took so long. Eventually, it did make the move, but again, it was just taking way too long. I thought it was going to break back down and head down towards VWAP. Here we have Workday. Workday was beautiful, guys. Nice opening range breakdown, as you can see, with some good pullbacks here. If you look at the 1 minute, you can fine tune your entry a little bit better. And you have plenty of levels down here, 158, 156, plenty of levels to aim for. And it does drop nicely and eventually comes back up to test the VWAP 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Once you see that, guys, again, it cannot establish anything above the VWAP. Usually when that type of signal, the stock is weak, you could take this for a short in here. Or if you're still short from this area here, you're probably already taking some profits as it's hitting these levels we have marked for you, 158 and 157, I believe. As it's hitting those levels, you take some profits out, you leave a little bit. And I know Eamon and Kurt are very good at doing this. I think William Dust might do this as well. You add to your position as it cannot break the VWAP and heads down even lower to this next level we had here, 156.12. Doesn't quite get to it, but you can see that was the target you had to aim for. So that was it, guys. Again, we had a lot of stocks that traded very well. I love earnings season. We definitely get a lot more opportunities and movements. Here's VIVE. Again, this one was the low flow of the day yesterday. It had a nice little pop here. Good pre-market activity. I'm starting to believe that these low flows have great pre-market activity. Probably the time you want to trade them, but at the open, look at this nasty drop here. Going from $9 all the way down to 8, and then even further down all the way down to 6. Eventually recovers, but the same thing again. It's just a beautiful drop right back down. All right, so Norm, what do we have today in regards to the SPY and some news? What's on the radar for this morning?
Yeah, so SPY's up 1/3%. The big news today, this morning, is a possible Brexit deal. They are down to the wire to come up with some kind of agreeable Brexit terms. They seem to have maybe done it. It still has to be voted on in Parliament over there, and there's some other things that have to take place. But that popped up the markets early this morning when that news came out. A couple of pieces of economic data have come out just in the last few minutes. We had weekly jobless claims, which came in roughly in line with what was expected. Housing starts came out. They were a little bit lighter than expected. There's a couple of other pieces of data, but I would say those are probably the two bigger ones today. Industrial production and capacity utilization come out a little bit later. And then should be interesting going through this gappers list this morning. We've got some good stuff on earnings. I see a potential bounce that who knows if it'll turn into a continuation play. And then these marijuana stocks are going crazy. And maybe there were a couple of massive block trades in Cron yesterday, which I know that's the next thing we'll dive into, but it's sending these things into outer space right now.
Yeah, see that. Just looking at Cron right now, it's up 25% on Trade Ideas. Let's take a look at it and see what we have on here. So let's start with the first one here. So on Chronos, this one is a 25% up this morning with 2.4 million shares traded so far. So again, this looks quite interesting today of a bounce here, right? Because they've all been beat up pretty bad. What's the exact news on who has the news? Is it Cron?
Well, so Cron had 2 block trades that were huge in the after hours. If you look yesterday, after the market closed, I believe it popped about 40% and then came back down a good ways on a couple of massive trades there. So it's already traded half its volume, and there was no news out or anything that caused those block trades. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Let's see what happens.
Somebody knows something we don't know, that's for sure. So this is up.
And the easiest A block trade is a usually it's a large trade between two individuals, and when I say individuals, I don't necessarily mean people. It could be investment banks, corporations, or something like that. That's not on the open market, but that it's recorded.
All right, perfect. So let's get some information on this one. So overall, this looks good on the 5. Again, some good pre-market activity here, guys. A nice daily as well, nice little bounce. So I'm definitely going to keep this one on watch today with some good volume. 2.6 million shares traded so far. Netflix was on the move, I believe, last night as well, right? What's going on with Netflix?
Netflix had earnings last night, and they were, if you look at their daily and go back a few months, you'll see they disappointed for the last quarter when they had their earnings. And it has just Netflix has just been hammered in the last couple of months. Yeah, you had that huge gap down, and then it's just bled off since then. So they came in and beat expectations, but the bigger thing was people were concerned that their global growth, their international growth had slowed or was coming to an end, and this report showed that they don't believe that's the case. The other thing here, remember these streaming wars have been going on and kind of hammered them. So people are questioning, how valid is their business model when you've got all this new competition coming into the marketplace.
Gotcha. So these guys are up quite a bit today. 8.2, 730,000 shares traded so far, and just a beautiful pre-market activity. And what I mean by beautiful, guys, just look at the range and the flow of these candles, right? You got some really nice wide body candles in here. They don't look like this over here where they're pretty much flat. Again, just a lot of activity and some good volume. So again, great pre-market activity for Netflix this morning, gapping up quite a bit. I do like the daily chart as well. We do have some areas of support and resistance we're going to get into right in this area. So Netflix is good to watch this morning. CGC is up 3.9 this morning. 856,000 shares traded so far. Not as much volume as Chronos over there, but still some decent activity looks like this morning. We do have somewhat of a technical bounce being formed here, right? We've been watching this for a while. We see that all of them have this kind of bounce over the last 2 days or so. So again, not as much as Chron today, but definitely worth watching just to see if they're going to have some kind of activity as well this morning.
Yeah, the bounce they've had was initiated by Africa's earnings. So
yeah. Actually, let's see what that one's doing today too. APHA, guys. So this one had earnings. Was it 2 days ago or yes? 2 days ago, right? I believe.
2 days ago, yeah.
Yep. So 2 days ago they had earnings. Not doing quite as much as the other two right now, but we'll keep an eye on it just to see what it does, and we'll come back and remove if we have to. PAGS. This one was active a couple of days ago. I actually traded this for a short. Look at this beautiful gap down here. So today they're actually bouncing back nicely, up 3%, 672,000 shares traded so far. So I like the way this is setting up, and the daily has some higher highs, higher lows here. So trying to get in a somewhat of an uptrend, maybe hopefully try to get to this high of 2 days ago and maybe try to close this gap. Who knows? But again, I do love the activity right now on PAGS. So definitely we'll keep an eye on this one. It's got some good volume and up quite a bit, 2.6. Next we have the low flow that's been active the last couple of days, VIVE. Actually, not the last couple of days. This is only yesterday. The other one's the one that's been active the last couple of days. SES. So we'll look at that one next, just out of curiosity. So this one here, guys. Again, on the second follow-up day, you could get some kind of continuation, but again, just look at this drop here, right? How much more can you get today? So they're down 4.5.
You can also get murdered.
Exactly, and that's what happened with SES. We'll look at that one next and show you what's going on there. So it's down 4.5, guys. Volume is very light compared to what it was doing yesterday. I think the fun is kind of over here. You don't want to be having any fear of missing out. The move is done. So not much going on there. SES, just talking about low flows. This is one where it had two actually big days, right? I had this one here, which was nice, and then this massive one here opening at around 11 or 10, heading all the way up to 27. Then the follow-up day, you can see the beautiful drop here. Again, anybody here that's thinking about long is late to the party. So just be cautious with that. We'll take both of these off. Next on our gappers list, IBM. I haven't seen IBM in some time here. Looks like we only see some of these stocks like IBM only when they're in play, right? When they have earnings, right? Usually they trade very nasty. They don't usually hit our scanners often. IBM this morning down 6%, 204,000 shares traded. Norm, I'm assuming they had some rough earnings this morning or last night.
Yeah, their EPS beat, but their revenue was short, so that's what's caused them to tank.
Yeah, so again, this is one of those stocks, guys, that does not trade very clean. You can tell by the daily chart alone how choppy it can be. You do have some areas where you have a nice little drop here, kind of a double bottom and a reversal. But again, a lot of gaps in between. It's just not a clean daily overall. Look how choppy this is between this range of 145 and 140. So today they got a clean pre-market activity. Actually, this actually looks very good compared for what kind of stock this is. 204,000 shares traded. It is a nicey stock. I do like this drop. Definitely worth watching today to see what opportunities we can get out of that one this morning. Let's take a look at Nasdaq Active, Nasdaq Gainers, CRON. We have, guys, good pre-market activity, some great volume, up 22%. HEPA, this one, is this a low flow here? This is up quite a bit, 54, 1.8 million shares traded so far. This could be the low flow of the day. Yes, it looks like it is the low flow of the day, guys. What I don't like about this one already, look at the difference between how SES started in the morning, how VE started in the morning. They kind of start down here and work their way up nicely with some volumes, building some good ABCD patterns on the way up, right? Let's take a look at just so we do have a little bit of time here, VIVE. So if we look at this one yesterday, look at the start of the pre-market is, right? So very different than what we're seeing now. So you have a nice start here, kind of builds the base, kind of ABCD patterns after ABCD patterns, nice breakout. This one here is doing quite the opposite, right? It's actually on its way down. So again, not sure how interesting this is going to be over the next couple of minutes after the open. So it started up here, and you can see that actually doing reverse ABCD patterns on the way down. If it can get to the low of the day and hold low of the pre-market, maybe could be interesting, but right now this is not looking interesting at all. It's kind of losing it all. Looking back at some history, you can see that when it does gaps up, it's great at selling right back down. So not a lot of days where it actually takes off and does a nice run up. It usually does the opposite. So again, not exciting for the low flow team. Be extra cautious on this one here. Next, we have volatility index is slightly down as the markets are slightly up. Netflix is good, guys. We have this on our list. It's going to be interesting to watch today. Nasdaq indicator. The next one, REKR, also not looking great. Has 439,000 shares traded. But just look at this pre-market activity. This is nothing clean about this. Very choppy, guys, right? A lot of trades, a lot of the shares sitting on this one nasty candle here as well. So again, nothing good going on out of this REKR. I'm not sure if it's a low flow or not. Let's double check. Looks like it is. Yep, 9 million shares float, but again, you're not getting a great clean activity out of this one this morning. CGIX, also a penny stock, not trading well. Eric is also on here, guys. Most of the time, as you know, it gaps up and down quite a bit. But again, look at this pre-market activity. It's not a low flow, but it is a foreign stock. Does not trade very well. Next, FTFT, another one also that got pops up into our scanners a lot. We have looked at this one in the past and actually traded it. But today not looking all that great with this pre-market activity at the moment. Nasdaq gainers, guys. HEPA we do have down here, again kind of selling down for the most part right now, so not giving anything great. CRON we have. REKR we looked at already. LLNW, no activity, nothing happening there. ATIS, same situation. Solo's not looking great. RCEL also not exciting. Netflix we have, and last one on this list, CEAL, CEAL, not doing anything exciting neither. Looks like a foreign stock as well with all the gaps in here on the daily. So, all right, guys, so that is what we have so far. So, and we do have some more that are coming up into our gappers list. So I'm just want to look over.
I think when you were going through it, MS dropped off and then came right back. When you were going through TSM is worthless. It's Taiwan Simi, and it's
Yeah, TMS. This is a foreign stock as well, right? Yeah, it's a foreign stock, so not all that good. And MS, this is Morgan Stanley. So this one is, again, these bank stocks don't move very much, but this one is gapping up 3.8, 347. So worth taking a look at just to see what can develop between now and the open. But again, just like Bank of America and these are banking stocks, just don't move all that much, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. So that's it. That covers our trade ideas gappers list for the moment. Norm, what do you like this morning? We haven't taken a look at Apple. Let's see what that's doing.
Just my normal stuff. Apple, Nvidia, Facebook's been moving like crazy the last couple of days. I haven't traded it, but I'll have my eyes on it. So
yeah, actually, and Facebook has a nice little possible breakout here too. Yeah, I like Facebook actually. Yeah, Facebook is interesting. We got an area of resistance coming up. If we can break out of that, this can be a good one to watch. All right, guys, what do you guys like this morning? Let's see what we have in the chats here. So IBM we have, Netflix we have, MS just popped up. Yeah, we're putting that one on there as well. Let's see what else we got going on. All right, I think everybody else doesn't have anything new besides what we have here, so that's good. Roku, yeah, we forget about Roku. Let's take a look at that one. All right, so Roku this morning. Let's take some of these levels off because now that we have the previous highs and lows from the last two trading days around this area, they are overlapping with the levels we have from this day here on this drop. Kind of consolidation bar here and then another drop again, so this is good. We can actually put some levels on here towards the top when we get to that situation. So yeah, so I like Facebook for sure. I mean, sorry, Roku for sure. Let's add this on here. Looks good. Let's look at AA and HON. So AA at the moment looks interesting on the daily for a possible breakout, but I don't like the volume, guys. Volume is very, very light.
Alcoa is not a great trading stock.
It's not? Yeah, I don't think I ever traded this one or looked at it. So yeah, this is not looking all that great. Is it a foreign stock or it's just not it's just a horrible stock?
No, it's just, yeah, it just doesn't trade very well.
Gotcha. HON had earnings. Let's see what HON is doing. Yeah, also not looking all that great in the pre-market activity at the moment. We have plenty on here that have nicer volume. This could be a good one for a secondary in case it gets going, or keep the ticker in mind on your sticky and look for it to hit the turbo breakup, turbo breakdown. But right now, not looking all that great. Also, the daily looks a little bit out of whack, especially the last couple of days. It's very choppy in this area. Not much body in the candles, just a lot of wicks. So we want to be careful, extra cautious with that. UNP on earnings. This one, yeah, not much volume at the moment, but this is a nicey stock. Usually nicey stocks tend to not have great volume at the open, but I'm not seeing anything great right now. This could be another one that we can watch for in our scanners. You know what, we'll put it on here, see if we get some activity, and we'll make a decision towards as we get closer to our finalizing our list. NTNX. This one is we have traded in the past. I see we're reaching this 27.73 level. Volume is very, very light. Too light actually. So it's up 4.1, but again, it just has no activity this morning, guys. So not one that we're gonna watch just at the open. STLD has a call after 10 a.m. Yeah, so maybe after 10 a.m. they'll get some volume. Right now it's pretty light on the volume, not doing much. But if they have a call at 10 a.m., depending on what they say, that could be interesting and can make this run up and down. It's a good one for a secondary list to watch later on in the mid morning or so. All right, we'll do a few more. NTRA. So NTRA, it's got some volume, 250. It's pretty much flat at the moment, not up or down. The pre-market activity though does look clean. Got a nice clean pre-market activity here. ABCD pattern is forming after another on the 5. The daily chart looks interesting. Yeah, this could be one to have even as a secondary. It could be a good one to watch. I do like the pre-market activity. It's not gapping much because it's kind of bouncing back and pretty much flat at the moment. But this could be interesting to see how it develops. All right, guys. Last one, CANF. This one is up 76%, 500. What kind of stock is this? Is it an ETF or it is on the American Exchange? I know. So low flow, 1.3 million shares flow, and it's also on the American Exchange, which is not on Nasdaq, which is it is tradable, but I usually try to stay away from the two things I don't like on here. It's a low flow and it's also on the American Exchange. So I am going to just bypass on this one, but I see what you're looking at. It does have some great volume. It is up 79%. This ramp is better than what we're getting from HEPA, right? Which is the ramp is going downwards here, just selling off. So that could be exciting, but I'm not going to watch that one, guys, this morning. And last one for sure now, Tesla. So Tesla, it's been on a tear lately. Look how it just ramped up nicely, getting towards the high that we had in July here. It's got a few more to go to get up there, but it has been very strong. Right now it doesn't have a great volume, but this could be a good one to watch for a secondary as well on your list. It's hitting, is that the 200? Yeah, so getting above the 200 now, and it's got some room to run here. So this is good. All right, guys, let's get over to announcements, and then we'll come back and find some levels of support and resistance and fine tune this list a little better here. Let's go on over. Here we go.
All right, guys. So tonight is class 5, the last in our live class week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Carlos will be there, and I believe Andrew said yesterday he would be popping in. So hopefully he's able to make it as well. DAS #1 Best Trader competition ended earlier this week. Hopefully they come out with another one soon. I'll let you guys know as soon as they do. Bearable Traders honored to have been nominated for the Benzinga FinTech Awards Best Financial Literacy Tool category. If you appreciate the content that we put out there each and every day for you, both free on YouTube and for the chat room, we sincerely appreciate your vote. AB will post the link. It takes about 2 seconds. You can vote one time per day per device. Meetups coming up just a couple of days away. I believe it's Saturday, St. Louis. William and Kurt will be there October 19th. San Diego, you don't have to be a member to go to these. So if you're in the area, come on out. Let's buy you a beer or a milk or whatever your beverage of choice is. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess it's cold, but a Christmas movie popped. It's a Wonderful Life popped into my head when he asked for milk at the bar. So anyway, San Diego Meetup October 26th, a week from Saturday. That coincides with the Trade Ideas Conference where Andrew will be speaking on the panel there. Meetup is that night. If you have the opportunity to go to the conference, it is well worth the time you'll spend there. Also, if you can't make it to America's Finest City on that day to go to the conference, they do stream it live. Highly recommended. If you can't make it to stream it, you can learn some things. There's a really good lineup of speakers at that. Clearwater Beach, Florida, November 16th. More information coming soon on that event. Lifetime membership discount. Right now it's recession, 30% off lifetime membership. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email me, norm@bearablетraders.com. Also, 1 week chat room trial. If you are watching us on YouTube, you've not been live in the room, you can do so for a discount. Use a promo code premarket24. It does not auto renew, does not turn into any other kind of membership. And then also, if you subscribe and then hit the like button or the notification bell on YouTube, you will be notified when we go live with the pre-market show, Williams Trade Reviews, or any of the other interviews or content that we put out there.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. So let's get to it, guys. Let's get some fine-tune this list a little bit more. So I asked the question in both chats, actually, why I don't like the American exchange. And there's nothing that I don't like about it. It's just that I'm used to trading more the NASDAQ and the NYSE, right? And even out of the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, I prefer the NASDAQ. Some people say that the New York Stock Exchange stocks are a little bit tougher to trade. But notice the volume, especially in the pre-market, on the stocks that are trading the NASDAQ exchange and those that are trading in the NYSE stocks. They're very, very different. And usually, at least, and Norm, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a lot of experience in regards to exchanges. The NASDAQ seems to have the more tech companies, right? More, you got the real big guys in the New York Stock Exchange, like the Microsoft, I believe, right? The IBMs of the world. Morgan Stanley. If you look at like Facebook, Roku, and all these other ones we trade on a constant basis, they're on the NASDAQ exchange, right? So
many of them are. There was a period of time when NASDAQ came out 40 years ago or whatever it is now. NASDAQ was essentially a computerized exchange, and previous to that, the other exchanges being American, NYSE, and all that, they had, you called a broker, it was placed. Then your broker contacted their person on the floor. The stock changed hands physically. All this stuff. That's why you don't have floor traders like you used to. I mean, you do, but not to the extent. And some of that's just hung over to this day. That some of the way that the stocks work. So anyway, the reason a lot of the big tech companies are on the NASDAQ, it just goes back even to the 80s. They fight. They're a little bit more competitive. NYSE is to get some of the more tech-heavy companies these days. But the traits, we could go on for an hour about the differences and why they do it. But some of those traits have kind of stuck with the exchanges over the years, and that's why NYSE, we tend to say it trades a little more difficult than the NASDAQ does.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, guys, so let's get to it. So here, let's start with the top. CRON Very active this morning. Wow, this is now at 3.5. We left it at 2 point something, now at 3.5. So the volume is really serious on this one this morning. So good pre-market activity, guys. Let's get some levels for this. Towards the bottom, we do have an area of consolidation here that I like, right at 1020. So I'm going to mark that down. Then we have our low of our pre-market, followed by 2 moving averages that are kind of curling up towards the bottom here. The 931 low of the pre-market also is coinciding with this nice level of support that then becomes resistance. So we got several confirmation of this 930ish level being a good one to have on your list. Below the low of the pre-market, you do have you don't have the cleanest. See, notice how clean this is right here, right? Drops down, consolidation, drops down, consolidation, right at these levels. Now here, what you have is kind of several days dropping down to this 850. So the 850 is your great support and resistance level right on here. And obviously you have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You have your previous day close right on there as well. So again, in here, you don't have anything that looks extremely clean. But if you want to have an area, let's say you're taking this short for whatever reason, you can put a level at this area right on here at 887. Again, not the cleanest level, but you have at 887, you have several days bouncing off that 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, not a major support, but you can see here, this one down here at 850 is clearly an area of support. You can see a nice little drop on there. So again, you can put that on there. You also have a moving average also as well. Obviously, this thing looks like it wants to head higher today and not lower. Look at the 5 minute as well, how already 1020, although we are not selecting 1020 from the pre-market activity, you can tell by having this level on here, you're already getting some support being built on this nice consolidation that's happening here at 1020. High of our pre-market sitting at 1097, so we'll mark that down. We do have a moving average coming in around 1069. I'm not going to mark that down yet because we do have a better range with the high of the pre-market, but just be aware that there's a daily there at 1069 or so. High of our pre-market, if you go back, you can see, wow, Cron has a nice daily. You can see the daily chart also confirming that 1069, that 11ish level, as well as nice support. Once it broke out of that, you see the drop right to the next level of support and resistance. So next, above the 1026, clearly this is an extreme reversal rejection here. So you can see it when you have this kind of candle extended, reverses right from 1243, you want to mark that down. Obviously, this is a long way to go. If we break out of the high of the pre-market at 1096, I don't expect to get to 1243 without having some kind of loss of momentum or some kind of consolidation. The stock needs to rest. It can't just go straight up like that unless you're BYND. So we're going to mark down something over here at 1164, guys. You can see right on there, you got an area of consolidation as well between 1164 and 11. It's a perfect level to have towards hopefully the target of 1243 if we can get up there. So let's mark that down. Netflix, guys, very active this morning. It's going to be fun to watch this one unfold. We have high of our pre-market sitting at 1350-ish. Our low of our pre-market sitting down at around 307.11. So I'm going to mark that down. You can see also going back how that those two levels have acted as some support here as well. Very nice, very nice. And then we lost the drop. So towards the bottom, the most recent area of resistance that we have is this area here, 299.37, basically almost 300, guys. So be on the lookout for that. And below that, you have your previous day close and your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days on this nice bull flag as well here on this consolidation. And you also have tons of moving averages as well with your previous day close. So playing towards the bottom, guys. Let's see how this reacts. If it can hold this 307, looks like we might want to go back and test it again. Just look at the volume this morning. This thing looks like it's actually open already. So it's going to be very exciting to watch this one open up today. Above 313.38, let's get the best level possible within this area. Let's zoom in a little bit. We do have at the top of this, it's over here, 335.80. I'm going to mark down the gap as well, 361.34. Again, not expecting us to get there. That's a reach this morning. But we do have 2 clean levels on here, right? We have the one at the bottom, 313.38, and then the one at the top, 335.80. In between here, we got the same situation we had in Crohn's as well, right? There's not a clean area of change in direction or an extreme reversal at any point here. So we're going to do the best we can to find the best possible level within this range. And I'm possibly looking at this one here, 319. 319 looks good because you do have several days bouncing off of that from support and resistance. So you want to have 320, 319 marked down as a gauge, because again, the next clear support is all the way at 335. But again, I don't think you will get there without having some kind of loss of momentum or some kind of pit stops along the way. Let's go down to CGC. So CGC is not looking all that great. So I'm going to remove this one. I think CRON is the one to watch this morning out of the pot stocks. AFRIA as well, not looking all that good. Let's get rid of it. PAGS, this one has a good pre-market activity, guys. 987,000 shares traded. It is a nicey stock, but it's trading with a very nice pre-market activity. So I want to definitely keep an eye on this one. We do have our highs and the lows of the last 2 trading days right here after this beautiful gap. Have created several levels to the top and toward the bottom, mainly towards the bottom. You have your high from yesterday, previous day close, low from yesterday, and then lows from the last from 2 trading days ago. You could mark down the low of the pre-market if you like on here as well, 38.89. Actually, you should mark it because we'll see how that reacts if it loses the previous day close. But right now it's looking very bullish at the moment. If it can break out of this high from 2 days ago, you do have a 42.95 level, which was the last resort, the last support that we had a couple of days ago on here. You can see being tested twice, 42.95 on there as an area. And you also have a moving average coming in, hitting it right on the head, and then hopefully another one right above that. So that's plenty of levels on PAGs this morning. Again, I do like the volume right now, about to hit 1 million shares pretty soon and up 3.3 after gapping down quite a bit. Usually when stocks gap down and they bounce pretty strong, again, usually, not always, they like to close this gap. Right, so hopefully if we can get some good momentum here, a nice trend trading going here, we have some opportunity to head even higher. IBM's dropping down today. Again, this stock does not trade very well often, but today they have a beautiful pre-market activity, guys. And beautiful, I mean, look at the candles on here. Look at the range. Look at the volume, right? Just a beautiful patterns being formed here. This is exactly what you want to see. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you check out Class 2. It talks exactly about what we're looking for in our pre-market activity to make this a clean pre-market activity that you want to trade. This is one of them. However, pre-market 136.11, our low 132.33, 36 to be exact. And if we go back, you can see how those 2 levels have acted as support and resistance on this not so great daily chart, right? Head back down here. We do have an area of extreme reversal. Our low here is 128.97. And between that, you do have one more here. We lost some momentum on this area, 131.19. Also then acting as support and then acting as resistance. So you want to have that down as well. Towards the top, guys, we do have plenty. We do have a moving average coming in around 137.83. So you want to mark that down. And then that kind of has a gap, a small gap fill here as well, 137.83 is the bottom of that. And then above that, you have another moving average I'm going to mark because I like these better than actually anything of the stuff up here, 139.16. So we'll see if IBM can break out of this beautiful range. This is a big range, by the way, guys. This is 136, 130, 132, a $4 range we have in here. So let's see if we can get some good trades within this range, or if we can get a nice breakout either up or down. Would be nice to trade today on IBM. Morgan Stanley, guys, this is a banking stock. I might not keep this one. Again, they might give you a good move right off the top, right off the open. And then from there, they'll just go back to their normal trading patterns. If you look at BAC yesterday, so let's take a look at it. We have a little bit of time here. If we look at BAC yesterday, it had a beautiful pre-market activity for the type of stock that it is. Gave you a nice opening range breakup, gave you a nice drop, and then from there, it just goes into its normal trading pattern, which is not hot, not as exciting, not a lot of movements, right? Usually banking stocks tend to do that. Morgan Stanley falls within that criteria as well. So high of the pre-market 44.84. We have a nice little level of resistance all the way up there at 45.46. So we're going to be on the lookout for that. Towards the bottom, guys, again, not a clean daily chart here, so tough to find levels, but I do see one sticking out here on 43.71. And the reason for that is you have resistance coming up here, you have support, and then resistance as it gets below this 43.71. You do not need to add any more to this one, guys, because as you look towards the bottom, your low of your pre-market 43.10 is already being supported here by plenty of levels and moving averages as well. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, previous day close, and some moving averages also kind of curling up here. Plus you have, I believe, the 50 or the 200. Now this is the 200 right on there at your low of your pre-market. So that's what we have for Morgan Stanley. Might not make our final list as Andrew comes on and we fine tune our list. So we'll see how that plays out. Here is Facebook, guys. I do like Facebook, the way it's lining up right now. If we can get above some of these levels, it can be nice. This will be on my secondary list. I don't see much activity at the moment, but as Norm mentioned, this could be exciting. Has been on a nice little run here. You got some moving averages curling up as well. We're hitting an area of resistance over the last month or so in September. And if we go back, even in August, this was an area that it could not get above, right? So we've seen kind of a lot of these stocks kind of bounce back and be really strong, like the Apples and Video strong in the last couple of days as well. Again, banging their head in this resistance. If they can break out of that, they can go for a nice little run. So 192 is the high we have here, the most recent high, 192.98. High of the pre-market hasn't moved much. It's very close to where some of the other levels are towards the bottom. So we'll mark it down. 190.118 is a high of a pre-market towards the bottom, guys. Plenty of levels. I'm not going to mark anymore on this one. Highs and lows from the last two trading day, previous day closing, some moving averages. And the play on this one, I'm really looking for this one to squeeze higher. I don't want to take it short into this area. I want to take it if it can break out of this resistance. We have more room to run, and hopefully a nice little uptrend as we have seen on Nvidia, on Roku, and on Apple as well. So that's what we have on Facebook. I'm going to move this down here as a possible. All right, we'll move it from here. Roku. Again, Roku is just going to be exciting to watch, guys. It's been so strong. We're hitting an area, we're hitting a wall here, area of resistance. We did drop down yesterday a bit and came right back to it. And we're pretty much flat at the moment, right at this area where we're having a lot of resistance to break out of. Towards the top, guys, the next level I see is going to be 139.98. And then above that, we do have 145.63. Again, if we can hold here below, we have a moving average towards the bottom here, below the previous day close. If we can hold here, and it probably could be some profit taking, not as much because a lot of the move was done here. I think you had a lot of profit taking yesterday, but if we can hold here and break out is 134.52, which seems to be the high of the last two trading days plus the pre-market high today, it can be really nice if we can get going. So that's Roku. We'll keep an eye on it. Decent volume, not as much as we see on the few days that this thing ran out pretty nice. So not as much volume, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that. UNP, guys, this one it has okay volume. This could be a good possible. Right now, I'm not seeing a great pre-market activity at the moment. We're kind of stuck within an area of yeah, and it's spready too, right? So we're kind of stuck within this area here. So I'm gonna take this one out, guys. If it hits our scanners one way or the other, we can tune into it. But right now, it's not looking all that great, either up or down. NTRA, on the other hand, this one is a little spready, not as bad for a $37 stock. I'm seeing 10 cents now, so not the best. I do like the daily chart. We have been a nice little uptrend here with some healthy pullbacks and then running back up. So we probably could be another pullback here, and it could have a room for a continuation, try to get back up towards this high over here. Also, what I like about this one too, the pre-market activity looks very clean, guys. ABCD pattern after ABCD pattern. This is what you want to see. It's about to hit 2%, so it will be hitting our scanners pretty shortly here. So definitely worth watching, guys. Let's get some levels for this. Towards the bottom, I'm just going to mark down the low of the pre-market sitting at 35.50, and the reason for that is because towards the bottom you have the low from 2 days ago. You have some good moving averages up here, and I believe the play here, I don't want to have a bias, but the play here I think is towards the long side, right? We want this to move up and try to get to this target here, as it is on the overall, and a beautiful uptrend on the daily. So let's see if it can hold that, guys. You do have highs and lows from the last highs from the last two trading days and yesterday as well. So we'll put that on there. Pre-market high, I mean, it's probably gonna rip through it, but right now it's sitting at 36.06. We can mark it down, but be ready to update that pre-market high. I think it's gonna probably break through it. Above that, the highs from the last two trading days, and our target hopefully is going to be this one up here if we can get a nice little rhythm going here. So good volume, up 2%. It should be coming up on our gappers list any minute there. Next we have HEPA. So this one looks like it might have found the base. We'll put some levels for our low flow team here. We have 347 down here, and then above that, no, not you, Siri. We don't need you. We have 347 here, and then towards the top, guys, above the pre-market action, nice little pop here at 443. Let's try to get in here again. Just, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna remove this, guys. I'm not watching this. I'm just remember now that this thing again gaps up, sells back down. It's just not a good one to watch. I'm just gonna take it off. VIVE. Again, this was an example showing you guys earlier how that traded, so we don't need that today. So here's what we have, guys. CORN. Let's just recap real quick on what our list looks like. Again, it's not the fine-tuned list. We will do that in a few minutes when Andrew comes on. So here we have CRON, guys. Again, good pre-market activity, nice volume now at 4.6. I mean, this thing just keeps climbing, up 25%. Look at the great pre-market activity here, doing a nice little consolidation after a nice pop. So that's going to be good to watch. Netflix, guys, is going to be great as well, either long or short. This one can go either way. It's breaking the low of the pre-market right now at 307. 307 was an area of support within the pre-market. We're kind of breaking that now. Let's see if we can recover. If not, we can we have some other levels we can hit on here. PAGS also has a good pre-market activity, guys. Possible bounce of this nice gap here. Again, if we can get above some of these levels, we can definitely get going, and we do have a gap that we can possibly close. IBM's looking great today, guys. Good pre-market activity. It is a nicey stock, down 6%, but I love the way it's trading this morning. You can see here a beautiful range in the pre-market activity with some good volume. Morgan Stanley, not one of our favorite type of stocks to trade, but it can give you a good trade right at the open before it gets into its normal trading pattern of not trading quite a bit. So this is up 4%, 380,000 shares traded right now. We'll keep an eye on it, but I think we have probably one or two too many. It might be one that gets cut off from our final list. And obviously Roku is one to watch, kind of getting towards the previous day close here. Let's see if we can find some support. You can see the volume somewhat increasing already, so this is nice. And then NTRA also, here we go, breaking out from the high of the pre-market that we had a couple of minutes ago. We do have a moving average on the 5. We'll keep an eye on that, so we fine-tune this list and see how that plays out. But I'm looking for a possible long play on this one today if it can continue this beautiful uptrend that it has on the daily. And Facebook is a good possible. Again, guys, if this can break out of here, we've seen Apple, we've seen Nvidia do some really nice runs. Again, when you don't have when you have a gap up here of some area of some clean space, it could be a nice run to get higher. So we'll see if this can get up to that 192.98. We're sitting at 190 now. Pre-market activity doesn't look all that great, so this is going to be one that it will be on the secondary list, or it could get dropped because we do have some good ones on here on this list to watch today. All right, guys, that is what we have. Norm, did I miss anything?
Not that I can think of, Carlos. I think you got it all, man.
All right, excellent. Now, CCSX popped up on here, but I'm not seeing anything all that great right now, pre-market activity. It can get better, but I guarantee you, Andrew will definitely go through that one. If he sees something he likes, he'll point it out, and then we'll fine-tune our list here. All right, guys, thank you guys on YouTube for joining us. Have a great trading day this Thursday. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time. Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Trade safe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.